Thanks, Ian. And great to be here at NFT.NYC 23. My name is Tim Seymour, and I'm the moderator of this Future of Live event ticketing. Guys, why don't you let's take the middle four. How about the middle four? Come on, Josh. Come on in. Let's huddle up. Great to be here for, again, a panel that's talking about live event ticketing. Real quick, I am a co-host of a show on CNBC called Fast Money, and we're there talking about the markets every night. And certainly when it comes to innovation and some of the issues that have been particularly relevant around what's been going on with Live Nation, but the disruption, the innovation that's been going on in the space of ticketing and live innovation is really extraordinary, and I'm thrilled we have some of the change makers of the industry. I mean, we've kind of got the trade surrounded. We've got the platforms, we've got the technology, we've got the content, we've got the venues, we've got the folks that really are on all sides of this. So let me quickly introduce the panel and let them introduce themselves. Josh Katz from Yellow Heart. Go ahead, Josh.
Hey, everybody. So I'm Josh Katz from Yellow Heart. Been on a mission with Yellow Heart to really bring Web3 to live event ticketing for a number of years now. Early on saw the ability for this technology to change and evolve an industry that has been, evolving, from physical to digital ticketing for a while, but really with the ability within Web3 to really look at blockchain to create transparency on opaque markets for both artists and for fans, for reporting and also for purchasing. Around smart contracts to be able to give royalties back to ticket issuers and artists and teams, and then of course NFTs for real entertainment value around ticket stubs and making them more fun and engaging, and then of course the metaverse, which is obviously pretty mature around video gaming, but with music it becoming a place and sports as a new destination. So that's who I am.
Thanks, Josh. John.
Hey everybody, John Abbamondi. I'm the CEO of Longball Capital. We invest in a range of strategies in and around the sports industry. I'm a sports and entertainment industry veteran. Most recently was CEO of BSE Global, which is the parent company of Barclays Center and the Brooklyn Nets. And just happy to be here to talk about ticketing.
Mike.
Yep, I'm Mike Rojas. I'm the Chief Innovation Officer of Access, which is wholly owned by AG. So listening to all the NFT ticketing, I was like, Josh, am I the bad guy?
No, we'll get to that. We'll get to that, Mike. Don't worry. I'm not sure we're going to decide that yet, but keep going.
Okay. Yeah, so we've been watching blockchain for almost 7 years now, and been named internally kind of the blockchain czar to figure out where we can apply the technology. And I think there's a lot of opportunity that we see with blockchain and NFTs in general, and happy to explore that with you.
Great. Chris.
Hey everybody, Chris Schlosser, lead the venture business for MLS, which is the fastest growing sports league here in the US. Youngest fans in American pro sports. You may have seen we did a global deal recently with Apple for every single game and broadcast. And if you're the blockchain czar, I guess I'm the crypto czar at MLS. Have been working to figure out how do we engage in Web3 across the league and all of our clubs.
Great, thanks. So let's quickly address the prevailing kind of market we're in, and really some of the headlines you're all seeing. And let's talk about Live Nation. Let's talk about the landslide kind of dominant position they have in the world of ticketing. And who out there loves going on Ticketmaster to buy a ticket right now? Show of hands. Okay, I think there we go. And of course, that's not what's going on in their experience with Access. But again, whether it's Live Nation, Ticketmaster going down to Capitol Hill, whether it's a DOJ investigation, whether it's a fan experience from any form of entertainment, it's a process that is ripe for disruption. There's no question, and I'll just, no one wants to hear kind of what goes on my daily life, but I'm an investor. I'm someone that sits in the markets, and I can tell you that the value of Live Nation, Ticketmaster together is worth significantly more than the sum of the parts. These two companies together are dominant. They do dominate. There's probably some misperceptions about what they're doing, and there's probably some really accurate assessments of a world where they probably have greater than 80% market share. I guess, Mike, let's quickly go to you and tell me what's perception, what's misperception. You are, and this is no insult, this is in fact where the industry is. You're a distant second or third here. And I think that that's a place where not only is the core of what we're here to talk about in NFT and innovation and technology, part of how you see the future for your business, but talk about the prevailing environment.
I mean, at the heart of everything, I've been a serial entrepreneur many years of my life, so I know exactly where you are in your shoes and what you're thinking about. So one of the things you need to understand about the ticketing industry, I mean, I'm talking about the, the big industry, the Live Nation industry. Ticketing's at the bottom of the food chain. So the artist controls everything, which is then followed by the managers, which is then followed by the promoter, which has to put the tour on sale, make the ad investment necessary to make the tour successful. And then the venues. And the venues themselves, will be compensated for, removing one event for another. And then there's ticketing. So just to put things in perspective, to let you know how the market goes, a lot of people look at the gross ticket value. So let's say it's a $100 ticket. And it's saying, wow, look how much money is being made in ticketing. The ticketing deal at the end of that food chain is $1.50. And that's just the industry fact. So, now there's been price pressure to move that sub $1. So you can see that 99% of the revenue taken from the consumer goes to pay the artists, goes to pay the promoter, to recoup the ad revenue, to go pay the venues, and pay their management teams. So one of the things that we like to do at Access is we like to collaborate. So unlike Live Nation and Ticketmaster, which is going to do everything in their power to protect their position, we'd like to be those other guys. And to Tim's point, we are a distant second.
Well, it sounds like, Josh, so let's talk about that collaboration. Let's talk about the technology and what really Web 3.0 is. And then, I've had a chance to talk a little bit to Mike and Chris about this. To John and Chris about this. I think John, as someone that has sat on the side of the venues and folks that are actually the homes of some of these events, and Chris, who's got content, who's on the leading edge of a leading edge sports league that is cutting very interesting deals. I think there's probably a difference of opinion of just where technology is now, how valuable is it, how much utility is being given. Josh, obviously Yellow Heart has a view that there's a ton of utility and that there's actually something more than just getting a concert poster the next day. So talk about where we are, but Mike's partnership and where you see you can bridge this gap, this access point for both the fans and then the prevailing players in the industry.
So to start, when you start issuing tickets on a blockchain versus a centralized server, you are able to essentially create a transparent marketplace. So right now, if you look at secondaries, they're very opaque. Tickets are sold across multiple secondaries, whereas with the blockchain, there's one ticket. And it is out there and it's for everyone to see. Plus it could create bid-ask secondary markets, where for the first time you don't just see a little sprinkling of inventory, you see all inventory. And then what happens is the entire process becomes transparent, not only for the fan who's purchasing, but also for the stakeholders in that event, where they're able to see how much money came in. It's pre-divided up in the smart contracts, and it really creates efficiencies throughout the live event industry. The other thing that the live event industry has been suffering from, and these guys could talk a lot more about it than I can, is not knowing who the customer is, not knowing who is in the seats at the games, not knowing who's in the seats at the concerts. And by issuing tickets on chain, people have the opportunity to opt in and be public with their wallets and essentially to become known as a fan, and in turn, what we all in this world know about, join a community.
So let me stop you right there for 1 second, because I want to hear from John and Chris. I mean, John, on some level, some of this technology is already out there, right? I mean, to some extent, you kind of know who your fans are. You have some sense, although, I hear that there's apparently some eye scans going on as people walk into the Garden these days. But do you agree with that premise, that this is something that you have not had to this point in its true value?
So I think that there's no question, whether you're a consumer or a venue, and I suspect an artist, that the technology behind ticketing today can be improved. And so companies like Yellow Heart are at the forefront of that. There's others out there. There's a small company called Tixology that's working hard on this stuff too. But I think that you have to ask yourself a couple of questions, and no disrespect to any of the incumbents, but 2 of the 3 largest players in ticketing, at least for major venues, are owned by companies that have their own promotion business. And so I think it's, as you are thinking about this space, especially from a startup perspective, it's questionable in my mind whether technology wins or whether there's other strategic factors
So just to
that
be
are more
clear,
important.
your point is this isn't even about technology. It's about a prevailing environment where the dominant players dictate the technology you get.
I'm saying something more humble, which is it's certainly not just about technology, right? And so, when Josh talks about the transparency that's possible with the blockchain, I think you have to also ask yourself, how much do the most powerful players in this industry, artists, promoters, et cetera, how much do they want transparency? That's not something we should just assume. And so, those are some of the issues I think that are impeding the progress.
No, that's great. And Chris, do you want this transparency? And again, you've struck a pretty unique partnership with Sorare, and you've got an opportunity to not only know who your fan base is, but to have, again, when I, from the cheap seats, when I hear NFT, I hear there's a utility out there for me as a fan that I'm not sure what it is, but I know there's something there for me. Are you able to deliver that right now to your fan base?
So for your first question, one of the biggest pain points that I think any league, club, artist has is we have no idea who's in our venues. And that has been true for as long as tickets have been around. We might know who purchased the initial ticket. We don't necessarily know who bought it from there. We don't know if you bought 4 tickets and brought 3 of your friends, who those other people are. That's starting to get a little bit better with mobile ticketing and transfers. It's certainly better than when everyone just printed out a PDF and walked into the venue. But that is a major pain point, and as data becomes more and more critical to the sports business, there's going to be more and more focus from the leagues, clubs, about really trying to figure out who is in the venue so that we can create better experiences for those fans, more personalized experiences. That's where blockchain may start to really come in, not at the core ticket as a starting point. I think that's probably years away, but in the experiences post the event. Can we deliver you unique memorabilia from the time you've been in the stadium? Can we deliver you highlights? Can we deliver you, a personalized view from your seat, et cetera, et cetera? And that's the utility that I think you're starting to see. The nice thing about sports is we can go beyond just collectibles. Obviously, sports has a massive, massive long history in collectibles. It's a very valuable business, but we can start to create other experiences. And the company Tim mentioned, Sorare, it's a French company, created a blockchain-based fantasy game. It's phenomenal. It's really entertaining. It's a whole new way of thinking about fantasy sports. And we love that because it gives our fans a new way to interact with the league. And it frankly has been bringing in new fans into our league that never would have followed our games before because, hey, maybe I'm a fan in Paris and I bought a bunch of French players, but during the summer I want to keep playing, and so I'm going to play the MLS game. And so it's created this whole new unique group of fans for us, and they've been a tremendous partner for the league over the last 12 months.
So I think as a group, though, agree that there needs to be disruption and change. Is anyone?
Yeah, we agree with that.
Okay, yeah. So in order to get disruption and change, Josh is here to talk about technology. John's here to say, I welcome that, and I think it will help, and there's a lot I can do with it. Chris is saying, for sure, we're still early innings, but it's already working for me. Mike, are we in a place where don't regulators need to jump in and stop these exclusive relationships between the venues and the artists but the ticket agencies and the venues and the artists? Because how can anybody compete? And again, like I just remember the day I heard that Pearl Jam was taking on Ticketmaster. I was like, yeah, go boys. But the sense that even those guys were never able to really. And again, you guys know the behind the scenes on that. And maybe Pearl Jam's not as socially minded as they might make themselves out to be. We don't even know. But does this get down to regulation right now? Because I don't think anybody questions what technology can do.
Yeah, no, it definitely gets down to regulation. So I think the Taylor Swift debacle has unlocked literally a storm of legislation.
What went wrong? What would you say? What was the debacle?
There wasn't a ticketing system on the planet that could big bang a tour of that size. Taylor Swift is actually our artist, but she decided to go with a competitor ticketing system because they were promising they could do a big bang. And I think what happened kind of speaks for itself. ironically, what happened after that, even though we didn't get to ticket Taylor, we had just a firestorm of artists come to us saying, we just want to do a tour with AEG that's not Live Nation. And in February, we launched a democratic lottery process for Zach Bryan. And he was like, I'm not going to tour any city that has Live Nation in it. And basically, I'm going to get pre-registrations. We'll pull lottery winners. For over 1.5 million registrations with only 400,000 tickets, the supply and demand problem is one of the biggest problems in ticketing. So this was a solution as an experimental on-sale process. But the regulation, you're spot on. Live Nation owns the buildings that they put their artists in. So
Sometimes.
that is some. And so I think it's the exclusivity arrangements with these venues that really need to change. The venues need to be open, which would mean any ticketing company. It would benefit Access, obviously, because we'd be able to ticket venues like the Forum and others, Madison Square Garden. But that would also mean that NFT ticketing companies, any ticketing company would have access to those venues. So I think that is an important legislative effort, and we're looking forward to see how that pans out.
I mean, it seems to me, John, that MSG, the self-proclaimed world's most famous arena, by the way, do you imagine if you gave yourself that nickname? I mean, it really, you know, who gives themselves a nickname? And when you do, anyway. But it is, by the way, I was there last night. Put on your MSG hat, your Barclays hat, and listen to what Mike just said. Arguably, you know, no one pushes MSG around, right? I mean, you're cutting your own deals, right? I mean, so do you feel like you were ever dealing from a weak hand?
Yeah, so, and I used to run ticketing at MSG. Look, I would say the greatest technology that anybody's ever invented for matching supply and demand is called pricing. And
efficient market.
And the problem in the concert industry, if you want to call it that, but really the root of a lot of this is that artists price their tickets, the big ones do, price their tickets well below the market clearing price. That's why
no matter how many times we tell them not to do that.
No matter, and they,
yeah,
you know,
they just don't listen.
And they're not totally irrational,
No.
right? Like there's branding reasons and PR reasons why they do that. But you know, when you see an event sell out in 15 minutes, pretty good indication that they could have priced it
They got
higher,
it wrong. Yeah,
right?
they got it wrong.
And so a lot of what we're talking about is trying to backfill for that original sin.
Fascinating. No, it is, because I bet a lot of people don't think of it that way.
But
how could they not price themselves in March? Seriously, I mean, how can Taylor Swift not know?
But here are the fall-on effects, right? One of which is that artists pay really low rent to venues for the event. We can't make money just on the rent. And so what happens instead is a venue, you make up for it with ancillary revenues, right? And one of those big ancillary revenues is you become a sponsorship platform, an advertising platform for your ticketing partner. And I can get much more revenue and sponsorship if I'm pushing one ticketing partner and I've got a SeatGeek Plaza out front and SeatGeek all over my building than I could be if I balkanize that. And you know, it's the same way like why you do one car deal instead of having 20 car deals, right? So there's a lot of problems in the economics that need to be solved. And if we went to that model, we'd be charging artists more rent.
Yeah, no, totally.
So Josh, in a world, or Chris, first of all, do you think you're now underpricing your product as you, when you see games sell out quickly, and I mean, on some level, you're on the front line of that.
For sure. When LAFC is selling out every match and there's a massive secondary market, they priced it too low.
Yeah.
And people are paying significantly more. I guess the question is, can the league or the club take a greater share of that secondary market? And that's what you've started to see happen over time. It's one of the attractive things about NFTs and NFT marketplaces is, in theory, the content creator participates not just in the primary sale, but in all of the secondary sales as well. That's an intriguing opportunity. We haven't seen it executed exactly perfectly.
Well, and I think it also gives them pricing flexibility, right? Because a lot of these artists price. Yeah, they price it because they truly love their fans. They want the fans to get that $100 ticket. But no matter how many times we tell them it's a $295 ticket, And all you're doing is creating a $195 arbitrage, which is going to create inflated prices in the market. They're like, I don't care. I want it to be a $100 ticket.
So Josh, talk about the technology and the innovation, and where you are part of that democratization of the secondary market. That's we all now acknowledge that the primary market. By the way, this goes on Wall Street all the time. Primary markets are often very inefficient. Look at IPOs. So your message to everybody here is, I can help you solve your problem.
Yeah, it's early days, but I think we've all seen through the NFT community that secondary market is super robust for collections. Plus, the secondary markets around Web3 are bid-ask engines, where they're truly open and transparent, and you see a full inventory. So like in a ticketing on sale for a Taylor Swift show to an NFT collection. We just saw Alex from OpenSea on OpenSea, where you see every single item in the collection. The pricing is fair and transparent, and it's truly a supply and demand driven economy. Of course, there are people that come in and are manipulators, but not even close to what's really going on in live event ticketing right now. So that's where the technology takes us, is to transparent bid-ask marketplaces for secondary. Last part, Tim, is that then the smart contracts enable the stakeholders in that event, the artist, the promoter, the venue, to potentially share in secondary revenues. So the pricing, if it's optically off because the artist optically wanted it priced lower, it's adjusted by the actual demand.
Got it. Chris, you were popping up there, something to say?
Yeah, so I think Josh is absolutely right there, that there is, leaning into that secondary market is really valuable. The other thing I'd say is, of the other big ticketing companies that are out there, we work closely with Axis, we work closely with Ticketmaster, we work closely with SeatGeek. Maybe not intuitively, Ticketmaster is the one of all three thus far that we've seen lean the most into blockchain. Not yet for ticketing, but for all of the kind of after effects. We had a partnership for a long time with SeatGeek. They were not interested in the blockchain at all, which we found really interesting. They were supposed to be the innovative new entrant, and they weren't going to engage with it. Where Ticketmaster has a big NFT team, they have a big blockchain team, and they're starting to do more and more. They've done tests with the NFL, with Lollapalooza. I think you're going to see them move more and more into that space. Again, post-ticket, event, not for the actual core ticketing.
That's fascinating, because again, seemingly everyone should welcome that, and seemingly if the technology is set up to disrupt and to create a transparent, an efficient, and really an egalitarian playing field for artist, venue, and fan, then you'd think they'd be the ones that were not going in that direction. Although they have more money and resources to throw at this than anybody, right? I mean, you've got more business than you know what to do with. Your business is growing, it's booming, and these emerging market kind of nascent. It's hardly an emerging market. That's why everybody's here. I mean, this is a major part of everybody's life. I'm on a show called Fast Money. We solve the world's problems every night in 60 minutes. We were given 30, and we're down to a minute 39. And unlike other people, we finish on time. So let's. I want everybody a chance to wrap it up. John, go to you, because again, this is the future of live event ticketing. You've sat in so many chairs. You're an investor. You're somebody that is probably staring at the new technology, staring at the artists, staring at the disruptive companies. What are your closing thoughts here?
I think we all have to be humble about how this is going to evolve. There's no question that the blockchain is a disruptive and important technology that's going to impact so many industries going forward. I think you've got to watch this space closely. Companies like Yellow Heart are going to be really important as we move forward with this. I just don't know that I have confidence myself in being able to predict the exact use cases that are going to come out of this.
Fair enough. Mike, today you've proven you are not the bad guy, and I know you knew that already. So again, as somebody that'd be very happy to see a more democratic playing field, and somebody that your pricing is what it is, and we just talked about some of the reasons why it is. Where are we going?
So one of the great promises of blockchain is, I look at ticketing as big ticketing and then kind of the emerging ticketing. And I encourage NFT ticketing companies to stay the course, because you are serving the emerging artists that eventually will be part of the battleship. So we can't steer the battleship into these types of Smaller venues, the cost benefit just doesn't work out. But NFT ticketing can fill that space. And that's why I think a collaboration with large ticketing companies actually is going to lift all boats. The emerging artists, and then eventually you could say, welcome to the AG family.
Sounds great. Chris, congrats on the explosion of soccer and MLS. So again, you're going to be part of this story from your corner of the sports world. Where do you want to see it go?
We'll continue to lean in. We want to create great new fan experiences. I think there are amazing things coming, and stay tuned. Back to the platform. So Josh, again, there's places where you've already been able to kind of stand in there for the artist community. What do you think the next 18 months are going to be like for Yellow Heart?
I think we're going to see adoption of this technology more into the mainstream. I don't think it's going to be widespread, fast adoption. I think we're going to find the use cases that really make sense, where the fans are clamoring to get their hands on some of the offerings, and we're going to have leaders that step up and really start to put this into play. I think eventually it then becomes the new norm, where you go to live events, your ticket is powered, through Web3, NFT ticket stubs, and all types of other things. But I think this is probably right now a 2 to 3 year cycle of adoption.
Folks, welcome to the new norm. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Mike. Thank you, John. Thank you, Josh. The future of live event ticketing.
Let's thank our panelists.